Hey everyone, it's Teresa, and in today's video I'm going to show you a batch project with this amazing new machine from Cricut. And this video is sponsored by Cricut, so I want to thank Cricut because I got this amazing machine from them. It is the very new, just released Cricut Venture, and I'm going to show you a batched project, and we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Alright, we are starting off in Cricut Design Space, and you'll notice I already have something created here. I've just used, of course, some different fonts that are here available in Cricut, all part of the access. So if you have that, you're all set to go kind of thing. I am going to be making this home sign for the shop that I sell at, and of course it has Oviedo, Florida, that's where it is, and the longitude and latitude because it's adorable and people love it. I'm going to be making 5 of these signs, and this is not going to be the sizing of it because this is typically what size I make them, but I'm making them a little bit bigger today. So I am going to start off with a shape, and I'm just going to pick a rectangle, and we're going to size it a little bit different. Oh, of course it's stretching out already. We're going to go ahead and unlock this, and for the width we are going to do 18 inches. Hit enter, it's going to change that, and then for the height it is going to be 7 inches. So this is my nice little rectangle, and we're going to go ahead and click on the rectangle, right click, and I'm going to send it backwards because I want it to be behind me so that I can see it a little bit better. And to make it a little easier to see, I'm going to make it the writing white, and the little rectangle is going to be brown. This isn't exactly the right shading of stuff I'm going to be doing, but it gives you the idea of the brown wood with the white paint that I'm going to be doing, most likely. I am going to leave it locked, and I'm going to stretch it out to fit into the actual rectangle a little bit better. That's probably about where I'm going to leave it. So I have plenty of room to kind of do top and bottom, side to side, all of that, all of the things. So now I'm going to go ahead and highlight the rectangle because I am not going to be actually cutting it. So now I'm going to grab all of those items and I'm going to attach. They're going to all be the same color. They're all going to cut at the same time, and I'm actually going to make 5 of these. So to do that, we're just going to click it. It's already all attached together. It's going to cut exactly the way you see it, and I'm going to go ahead and make 5 of those. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. I am not going to worry about where it is sitting exactly because it's going to align it on my machine just depending on wherever it is. It's going to make the most sense. Alright, so we're just going to go up to the top and click make it, and now we're going to go into the whole process of the cutting, the new stuff, right? I am going to start speeding up some of these screens a little bit, so I am going to be doing this without a mat, and I'm going to be using the 25-inch wide material. It's crazy. So of course it's going to put it out on the screen exactly how it's going to cut and all of that, and there's a feature in here I didn't even realize until after the fact. I'll have to tell you about it sometime. So anyways, as you can see, it's going to line them all up for me. I'm going to click continue, and then it's going to send it over to the machine to cut. I am going to be using some removable vinyl because I'm using it as a stencil, and this is going to of course walk you through step by step of how to do all of the things with setting up your machine, including an auto cutoff. So you're going to reach around to the back side of the machine and put it on the little button that's back there, and you're going to see it light up. Alright, so it's not necessarily in these order, but make sure these little clamps right here are facing up because your vinyl is going to come through that. This is going to need to be up when you're ready to load your material, and this little guy over here is going to be at the number 2 spot when you're using the large vinyl. So this is at a number 2 when you need it to be 25 inches. It'll be right here if you're using the 13 inches. So there is over here a little roller that this is sitting on. Let me show you. So you see here the large roll of vinyl, but what you can't really see, is very well at least, is there is a little spot for it to sit. So it's going to sit there nicely, excuse me while I put back the camera, and what you're going to do is you just pull it over, and you're going to feed it through right here. There's a couple little spots for it to kind of feed into. So you've got a couple little spots right there that it's just going to feed into perfectly. So once you're ready, just feed that on down here. You can hear that's going to actually be a little thing that's sucking it in. And now we're just going to place that down. I need to go a little further down. So clamp that down, and we're going to hit the button. Hit this button just like normal. So once you've hit your button to get going, it is going to, of course, measure out your material, make sure it's enough material to cut, just like it normally would if you were using smart material. I'm going to pull open that little flap that's part of the stand, and I'll push my triangle to just kind of get going, right? That's normal Cricut, behavior. So right now it's going to go ahead and start cutting, and I'm just going to leave just a few seconds of the actual cutting. This is normal speed. So as you can see, it's super fast. And now here, once it's finished, it's going to cut off the bottom of the material. That's the auto cut off. And as you can see here, it's performing the auto cut off. That's what you'll see on your screen. It's so exciting. So before I get into all of the stuff with the vinyl, I'm going to show you real quick what we're working with here. I've got about five, not about. I have 5 pine boards that are cut to 18 inches wide, as I said before. I'm sorry, 18 inches long and about 7 inches wide. And I'm going to use the weather wash on all of them. On 4 of them. And then I'm going to paint the other one. I am using the colors Driftwood and Ebony. So I'm going to do front and back with this stain. I love it because it's water-based and you can do it inside and it dries really quickly, which is wonderful, right? Absolutely wonderful. I'm just using a chip brush to apply it. I'm not wiping off any of the excess. It's just a really easy stain to use. Highly recommend. I'll have them linked down below if you're interested in checking them out. So once those are all done and dry and all of the things, I have my vinyl here already weeded. I figured I wasn't going to show you how to weed vinyl. You probably know that by now, but I do have 5 of them, and I did them all. I did 3 of them to be more of like a stencil, and 2 of them to be kind of like a reverse stencil. So what we're going to do, of course, is we're going to break out the transfer tape. This is the Cricut transfer tape that I prefer. It comes on this nice roll. They do have some that has the backer. That's not my preferred one. I like this one the best. They have come out with the transfer tape that has the backer on the huge 25-inch roll, the 25-inch wide roll. That one was the 13. So it's definitely kind of a preference type of thing of what you prefer. I like this one. Hopefully they come out with this one in the wide one soon. So I've applied my transfer tape, and now I'm just going to go ahead and burnish down and get ready to put it right there on my piece of stained wood. Now, as you see, it's coming off pretty nicely. I think this, yes, I did not do like the fuzzing of it or anything like that. So it is just 100% straight from the roll onto the vinyl. And once we do that, it's like magic, and boom, there we go, boom, it's applied. And I'm gonna, of course, get it nice and stuck down to my stained wood, and then we'll start to peel back the actual transfer tape. And I'm sorry this is sped up super fast, just because I am running out of time. And once you see here, anytime I have little bits and pieces that want to stick, I'll just go over real quick with my scraping tool just to make sure it's nice and pushed down, and I keep the transfer tape as low as I can while I'm removing it. You want to look over your stencil, make sure that there weren't any spots that were, sticking up a little bit, just to try to make sure that it's on the wood as much as it can be. And now I'm going to take my kind of like an off-white creamy mud paint and go over the entire thing with this little foam brush, and paying careful attention to go as much as you can straight up and down, and offloading some of that paint so that it's not too wet. You want it to be obviously wet enough to transfer the paint, but you want to try your best to make sure it's not too much. Now, when I'm doing this on the first coat, I'm really not too focused in on how opaque it is, because again, you don't want too much of the paint, but I'm really focusing in on is getting a coverage on the outer, the actual part that you're covering where the stencil isn't. I'll show you how I remove one of them in just a minute. This is the other way I actually weeded out my vinyl, was to leave it like almost like you're using this as vinyl, just straight on the sign. And I'm going to obviously paint over it, and I'm going to do the same technique as I did with the stencil first. And then once this is completely covered, like all of the edges are covered with the foam, using the little foam applicator, I'll go over it with a brush. So for this one, I am going to do a solid painting of it, kind of keeping it very clean. The other one, you'll see in a few minutes how I did all of them, but this is the one that I used as more of a stencil. You'll see here, just removing your vinyl. It's removable vinyl, so it's much easier. Another option, of course, is the stencil vinyl that Cricut makes. They do make it in the rolls that fit in the machine. It's just when I'm doing this on stained wood, my preference is to use the removable vinyl. If I'm doing it on painted wood, my preference is probably going to be to use the stencil vinyl. It has a little less grip to it, and I'm not as concerned about it pulling up the paint. Whereas this, I think you'd run that a lot more of a risk. I did do one that was painted in this kind of like creamy white color, and I had to just be super, super careful. So here's all of them, all done, all 5 variations. I can't wait to get these over to the store. I think they're gonna sell really well for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the Cricut Venture today. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Let me know which one of these is your favorite as well, and I will see you next time.